you don't think that this is the best fucking song ever, don't talk to me. Oh jeez, my volume is too fucking high. Let's try this. Yes. Okay, now we're good. Now we're good. What fucking song is it? It's called Fizzy Barf. Fizzy Barf. Look that shit up. It will be in the description, I assure you. It's from a fan-fucking-tastic movie called The Greasy Strangler. One of the finest motion pictures ever made. Highly recommend it to everybody, unconditionally. So I have been continuously busy for the last month, without pause, without hesitation. I have been utterly intoxicated with the laborious requirements of my existence, and so I have picked an easy topic for this night. Don't know how long it'll last. Hopefully it'll last at least half an hour. There's half an hour of stuff to talk about for sure. Pad is probably one of the most interesting people that we have ever had on the forum. Pad is somebody who has quite literally changed my perspective of the world around me. Pad's condition and what happened to him is stuff of legends. So, without further ado, let's just jump right into it, shall we? Alright, so have this set up, hopefully, without making a fool of myself. So, just to throw you right into this. This is Feminine Hygiene, a DeviantArt page that was formerly Pad's. And you'll see very easily why I call him Pad. His DeviantArt was almost entirely photographs of packages of feminine hygiene products. He took very few pictures of tampons, and that was always a point of contention. Why does he want to be a Pad specifically, as opposed to a tampon? And his answer pretty much to everything that's ever asked of him is, I don't know. You know, why do you want to be a Pad as opposed to a tampon? Why do you even want to be that? How are you going to do that? Why does it have to be pink? Why does it have to be disposable? He does not know. The name Pad, by the way, is not a nickname. It's not a given name that I'm opting to refer to him by. He legally changed his name to Pad. He consulted a lawyer, and he asked the lawyer, what is the easiest way to achieve my goal legally of being a pink disposable Pad? And the lawyer told him, well, we can get your gender changed to female, and we can get your name changed to Pad. So they did. And after 2013, he was legally known as Pad, and he was legally identified as female. So let's move along. This is a screenshot that you might recognize. I think a lot of people know Pad because he was very briefly at the tail end of a Jim video in 2018, around this time last year, talked about by Jim, and this screenshot showed up. When he was discovered, he got trolled really heavily because he's such a bizarre person. People kind of latched onto him to see what they could do to him. And he's mostly maintained his composure. I don't think he's ever been a good target for trolling. He would ban a lot of people making fun of him, but in general, you know, he's never reacted too violently to anything that people have done to him. This is one of the few things that I could find from his DA in full resolution. He's arranged very, very nicely his collection. And he did collect them into a heart shape and added some roses and took a picture of it. It's very nice. Very, very heart-touching. So that kind of gives you a idea of what we're going to be looking at. And he did catch the attention of normies. Now, normies are obviously the worst. And this article actually was very hard to find. This article no longer exists. It's on the Daily Dot. And if you were to try to find it today, you would not be able to. I had to dig into the archives to get this. But it's a pretty good rundown of pads, so we're just going to read it. One thing I do want to point out that I find very hilarious is that when this was captured, there was a LinkedIn share button right there. So if you wanted to share a pad with your coworkers on LinkedIn, the professional network, you could do so with a button click, actually. And I can't think of anything better. So meet the man who wants to become a disposable Kotex maxi pad by Aja Romano. It's a weird name. It's never easy to realize your dream, especially when that dream is to become the first human disposable sanitary napkin. And there's that fantastic picture I chose for the thumbnail. Just the best look. I like how smug he is. Like, yeah, I am a freak. I want to become a tampon or a pad. Sorry, not a tampon. Forgive me. I want to become a pad, and there's not a fucking thing you can do about it. You cocksuckers. So Pad Gardner, that is his real legal name, not as he calls himself legally. He's Pad Gardner. Works at a movie theater in Panama City, Florida. Where, it's weird. You try to make fun of Florida, but everybody influential comes from Florida. It is the birthplace of American exceptionalism. It is full of exceptional individuals like Pad Gardner. So, a former theater manager, he's a huge Twilight fan and an ardent gay rights supporter, because of course, he loves vampires and werewolves. Next month, he's doing a walk across America to raise awareness for his favorite cause, teaching women to avoid toxic shock syndrome from tampons, which, if you don't know, toxic shock syndrome is what happens when you leave a tampon in for too long and the exposure to heavy metals from the blood poison you. So I guess he's like a part of an anti-tampon lobby, but he says, and this guy gets to it, I think, in a bit. He sees a psychiatrist and a therapist regularly, perhaps to work through the sexual abuse he discusses on his YouTube channel, The Feminine Pad. He's also active on Google+, Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, and DeviantArt. All of those are gone, by the way. He has completely scrubbed his internet presence. So this is a concluded story. Posting regular updates and talking with his followers. At the start of 2013, Gardner made 4 resolutions: to get my legal first name changed to Pad, to start preparing for a life as a feminine pad, to set the world record for having the largest pad collection, which he very may well have set, and to become a pink disposable pad. Risking ridicule, alienation, and backlash, Gardner has been diligently reaching out across a myriad of social networks looking for friends to support him in his ultimate goal: to serve his purpose for 8 hours as an urbanite pad, preferably a Kotex. So that's a weird thing, and I don't know where he gets that, because when we get into this, and I'll show a video interview that he's done, he seems to categorically deny caring about the purpose of the pad. He doesn't seem to have any affinity for the actual blood work. He's not into blood play. He's not into anything like that, at least based on what he says. But he's been very consistent, not only in these media mentions, but he's been consistent on the Kiwi Farms and in my talking to him. And I'll get to that in a bit. So this kind of seems like bullshit. I don't know if he's ever said that. He says he can't talk to his coworkers for fear of harassment, and he hasn't spoken to any members of his family since July, but nothing has dissuaded him from pursuing his dream of one night absorbing a woman's menstrual blood. For research, Gardner collects feminine pads and spends hours meticulously photographing them from every possible angle. He says he's working on setting a world record for the largest collection of pads. Currently, I own 1,407 pads and 57 packs of pads. I am planning to donate myself and all the pads in my collection to women in need of pads once I have become a pad finally. He writes on his YouTube About page and DeviantArt account, which houses a gallery full of his explorations into feminine hygiene, as evidenced in the QA session on his YouTube channel, which obviously is now gone. Gardner knows more about the details of the history and dynamics of feminine hygiene products than many women do. He also fully supports women who use tampons and menstrual cups, whatever makes them feel more comfortable. Menstrual cups are really fucking gross, by the way, and if somebody wants to explain to me what the fuck they're for and why you wouldn't just use a pad, go right ahead, because that shit seems fucking gross to me. Like, unless you're so poor you can't afford them, like, I don't know. I don't even like to think about it. But for himself, Gardner seems to have made up his mind about his long-term goal. He wants to become an Urbanite pad, preferably a Kotex, because of their association with the color pink, his favorite. After that, he'll spend the rest of his existence as a disposed pad, contemplating the joy he experienced at having fulfilled his ultimate purpose. Cups are for reusing the blood? That's fucking disgusting. Why would you say that? So is this real? Yes. While it might be easy to assume that Pad Gardner is trolling, he's absolutely serious about achieving his personal goal and using his many social platforms to raise awareness and benefit women. His walk across the U.S. to promote pad usage and to prevent toxic shock syndrome related to tampon use begins next month. And that is also true. He did raise money on something called Fundraiser to fund what I guess is like his Forrest Gump walk across the country. You know that part where Forrest Gump is just like, I just started running. I didn't have any reason to. I just started running. Like that's what he did. While Gardner says he can't talk about his goal to any but the most open-minded of friends, he seems to have gotten an influx of bemused but supportive followers. What are some things that I need to know with being a feminine pad? He asked on Twitter, and the only person to reply said it could get messy. And that's an artist rendition of him. It says by him. I don't know if it's by him or just of him, but I guess that's kind of cute and creepy. In addition to changing his name to Pad because other pads don't have identities or names, Gardner says he wants to be treated like any normal pad, which probably means getting tossed into the trash, after which he expects to exist as any other sanitary napkin would, contemplating his existence and the joy of life. Hopefully soon I will be back in the Pad Pack is the title of one photo in his DeviantArt gallery. It shows an open package of pads. A view of where I hope to be very soon. And that's him just chilling out. Me hanging out with all the pads. That seems like that is a satisfied man. I've heard of something called otherkin before. Does this count? Yes and no. And this guy just describes what otherkin's like. There are even otherkin who, like Gardner, believe that they are really plants and inanimate objects, yet these are rarer. I have met people who have identified as machines and know some who identify as mollusks and anthropods, in particular species which are typically thought to lack the intelligence required to translate to human identity. Writes the owner of Kinspeak on Tumblr. 2013, when this was written, was a magical fucking time. However, these people still believe themselves to be internally these things, often because they know deep inside that it is right. There are some key differences, however, between otherkin and Pad Gardner. Most otherkin realize that they identify as non-human in a process of unearthing a true self. Gardner, however, seems to be actively working to become the object he identified with. Another difference involves physical transformation. While he has not specifically discussed how he'll transform physically, it seems to be a core part of his goal. And that's in his post on the Kiwi Farms. We asked him about that, and his response is just like, I don't know. So it was very strange communicating with him because he seemed entirely devoted to this cause, and it didn't seem to be for attention, and it didn't seem to be as a fetish. But he had no idea how he was going to accomplish any of it. uh, which he calls his goal, which he calls a huge transition in my life. I would fucking imagine so. The concept of being otherkin has ties to the spirit and animal worship of religions across the world, but while such worship is often metaphysical in nature, most otherkin don't believe in physical transformation. The Otherkin Alliance, for example, holds the belief that physical shape-shifting isn't possible. Many otherkin view their identities as otherkin as something that happens in another dimension. Yeah, see, this all sounds like bullshit. I fucking hate otherkin. They're like just attention. Sorry, I have a cold. They're just attention whores. But Pad is not. Happens in another dimension, a semi-real magical state that allows them to assume their true form. While they inhabit their many human states, many can live as close to their non-human states as possible, often forming communities to do everything from dating to eating, while remaining as close to their non-human states as they can. But Gardner seems to be fascinated with the actual physical transformation into a pad. He seems to give little focus on the practice of living as if he is able to absorb blood and fit into the box of a dozen other Kotex. Metaphysics don't seem to be on the cards. Equate Urbanite Pad meeting. I guess he just opened the box. What is the religion of a man who wants to become a pad? Recently, Pip Says Hi on Tumblr wrote an eloquent description of otherkins connected to religion. I'm going to skip over that because I don't give a shit. Gardner's religion likewise has a strong religious component. He's a member of a branch of goddess worship known as Yoni Tantra. And I guarantee I pronounced that wrong, but Yoni apparently means vagina in Sanskrit. So this is like a Buddhist thing for like women power. It's likely that the religion grew out of his interest in pads. Tantra involves religious sexual rituals, and Gardner says he's wanted to be a pad since he was 10. The Yoni Tantra teaches how to properly contemplate the womb of the goddess, and it's a stanza Gardner has taken to heart. Meditate on being absorbed in the Yoni chakra with Yoni on the tongue, Yoni Yoni in the mind, Yoni in the ears, and Yoni in the eyes. All sadhana is vain unless with the Yoni. That's like a sex addict's mantra. Gardner imagines that when he's no longer useful, he'll spend most his post-menstrual existence at the bottom of a dumpster, but the time will be ecstatic. He'll have lived out his purpose. So, that was a mouthful. Let me try to pull this up real quick. I didn't think about it until then. Aha! I do have the link offhand. If we go to the Daily Dot, this article is no longer available. It was removed apparently in 2016, and we have removed this post at the discretion of the editor. So, at some point, the guy who wrote this article removed it. It even says here, this post has been removed at the discretion of the editor. So we've got a true mystery here, folks. What happened? Fuck off. What happened to Pad? All right. There's another one. This one is just a rehashing of that. This guy is literally trying to become a maxi pad. It got shared all over the fucking place. Looking at this. And it's not worth reading. It's from Jezebel. Nothing on Jezebel is worth reading. But this one is. I have, this is Ravishly. This is a gay magazine. And I've highlighted some key features in this article. So, oh fuck. Hold up. You know, I went to the effort of highlighting what was worth reading. And I can't find it now. If I have to read this entire thing, I'm going to kill myself. Aha! Okay, perfect. Initially, Gardner's less than common desires made us all want to run for the hills and hide our menstruating vulvas away from his prying face. But further reading on Gardner shows that he's rather harmless. He sees the therapist and the psychiatrist frequently, and generally worships yoni tantra. In layman's terms, this is the spiritual practice focusing on the woman's womb, sexuality, and power. He's a passionate supporter of LGBTQ rights. Pad actually abandoned Christianity because he found so many Christians to be hate mongers. I'm sure Gianna Ciapponi has no horse in this race. But that is a man who has defied God to become closer with the devil. Down here, our concerns are, so this is the gay magazine saying, when someone this extreme enters the public discourse and becomes ostensibly a voice box for marginalized alternative identity people the world over, like transgender folks, for example, the entire fight gets undermined and sidetracked. People like Pad give trannies like me a bad name. Poor Gianna Ciapponi. Okay, down here. Not so surprisingly, Gardner has also been on the receiving end of equal extremism. He claims he received threats from a men's rights activist in which they demanded that Gardner stop using the men's restroom or else. Gardner's Facebook page reports, today I went to my math class at the college, and upon leaving class, I was followed around by two guys. After leaving the college, they continued to follow me downtown as I walked. I realized I was being followed and hid inside a bathroom downtown. They came into the bathroom and jumped me. They said I didn't belong in the men's room. They hit me in my stomach and ran. I received an email a few hours ago from a men's rights activist telling me to stay out of the men's bathroom and to expect more violence if I continue to be referred to as a male. Well, you know what, you assholes, you can have your stupid gender. You know what? I'm a Pad, and I'm damn proud not to be a part of your violent gender. Number one, okay, I like Pad as a person. I've spoken to him. But no transphobe in the entire fucking world, in the history of humanity, has gone up to a transgender person and said, motherfucker, you stay out of the men's restroom. You go to the women's restroom. You belong there. And like, nobody ever has ever fucking said that, ever. So I'm calling bullshit on you, Gianna Ciapponi. Fuck off, Thunderbird. I'm busy. I'm streaming to the people. What's next? Okay. We're gonna watch a video. I have timestamps, so don't worry. Also, I just want to say, this is a very helpful video, but the woman's face scares me. I want you to look at her face, chat, and I want you to agree with me. Only people who agree with me are allowed to talk at this point, but her face scares me, and you'll see why in a second.
Well, the best way to describe it is because of the fact it's transgender people. They feel like they're the wrong sex in their bodies, and that's basically the way I describe it as. It's just it's what I feel I'm supposed to be deep down.
So, are you uncomfortable living as a man?
Yes, actually, yes.
So, do you have a gender that you're going to be?
That's not interesting, but you know what she looks like? She looks like that disgusting clown woman, Laura Loomer. That's what she looks like, and her face is unsettling to me. I don't know why. It just is. It's a very unflattering face, is what I'm saying, and she has very wide set eyes. It makes it look like she wants to eat me. Okay. So that was him saying that he was trans, and as we know, trans like Pad give trans like Gianni Ciapponi a bad name. Okay, next part. 2:30. This is sad, by the way. You're allowed to feel sad at this point.
The inside. That's the best way for me to describe it.
So was there like an actual moment in your, say, childhood or adolescence where you realized you wanted to become a menstrual pad?
When I was 10 years old, I was in the 5th grade, we had sex education for the first time. I didn't even know what pads were until that time. They separated the boys and the girls, and the boys, they kept like the classroom door open. It was an open discussion, but the girls, they like took them into a locked classroom. They covered the windows; none of the boys could be in there, and they discussed everything with the girls. And I was really curious as to why this was happening. And when everybody and the girls that came out, they had little brown paper baggies, and they were told not to show any of the boys. And so I was really curious about it. So when everybody went to recess, I snuck into the classroom and opened up one of them, and there was pads, tampons, deodorant in it. And I was curious about the pad because it was like a pink wrapped object, and so I grabbed it. And when that occurred, I felt like the best way I describe it is before that point, it felt like I was a blind man, and when I touched the object, it was like being a blind man seeing the sun for the first time.
Okay, you ever have a life-changing experience? Well, that was his when he touched that pink disposable pad. We're gonna ignore the fact that he stole some woman some girls' tampons and shit. We're just gonna ignore that because I'm gonna excuse it by saying that he was a kid, and judging by the fact he can't look at the camera, I'm going to make the very safe guess that he is autistic in some way. So this 10-year-old autistic boy stole a girl's brown baggie of hygiene products, and we're going to excuse that just to get to the fact that he had a life-changing experience at that time. Moving on, 7:30. Sorry, 7:10. Bad handwriting.
It just, like I said, I just never associated with it.
So are you happy right now, or are you miserable because you are not actually living as a pad?
Seriously, what's wrong with the face? You should not be the one that's most interesting to me in this conversation, woman. You're fucking up. Sorry, let's go back to 7:10 so you can.
Like I said, I just never associated with it.
So are you happy right now, or are you miserable because you are not actually living as a pad?
At times, I'm very miserable about it because I want to be what I feel I am deep down. I am miserable about it, but there are times that I am really happy, and so it can be either or. It just either or.
Okay, so this is perhaps darker. Did maybe you wanting to become a pad have something to do with your past? Is it true that you were abused as a child?
Yes, I was sexually abused by my brother when I was young for quite a few years, and then it was discovered. I do see a psychiatrist and a therapist where we are working through it. I actually suffer what is called PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and I'm going to therapy to work on that. But still, deep down, I still associate myself. Yes, it could be contributed from the sexual abuse, but still, what I identify with deep down is what I identify with.
So yes, that's dark, and I'll touch on that in a bit. Not in that way, but I will elaborate on it in a bit.
Okay, so this isn't sexual. You feel that your true identity is a pad. You had an awakening at 10 that led you to realize you wanted to be a pad. It sort of evolved from a secret and also something sexual, though like you said before, it is not sexual. And now your plans are, because you've currently changed your name to Pad Gardner, to become a pad when, the actual pad itself.
So I just wanted to show that part because that is actually a really good, quick rundown of the situation. That's the gist of it. That's the gist of his condition. 12:29. You know what it is? Hold up. Hold up, chat. We're taking a break. We're taking a break. Because I have to. I figured it out. I figured it out, chat. And there's a name for this. There's a name for this, and I will show you. We're going to learn something else today. She has what is called, if my computer wants to work with me, she has what is called Sanpaku eyes. This is, see these eyes, the stress in life somewhere, depth and peripheral vision is off, accident prone. A lot of pressure, be aware of situation these eyes want to unload. Be very cautious, extreme pressure. These eyes are hiding something. And don't walk, run away. These eyes have psychotic tendencies. And then the eyes of a psychopathic killer. These eyes want to gain the power of you. Well, let's take a look here, chat. Let's take a look. Nope. 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 I think it's a match. I think it's a match. Look, there is no discernible difference. There is not a fucking difference. It's the exact same fucking thing. It's a complete and total match. It's preposterous. Sorry. Sorry. I forgot. I was conducting a live stream about Tad. I was not talking about Sanpaku eyes. That was the diversion. Oh, Jesus.
Type always has those white cloth wrappers. The U by Kotex, they have those colorful wrappers now. Stay Free has sort of like this pink purple kind of plastic wrapper. So I mean, it just for a wrapper, being what kind, what color. I'm not going to be so specific to that. I'm just going to go with what's being made at the time.
So that answer wasn't specific to why he chose to be a pink Kotex. And the reason why is he wants to be pink because the pad he got in the brown paper bag was pink, and he has an affinity for that specific pad. And nowadays, the only pads that are apparently pink are the ones that Kotex makes reliably. So that's the logic behind the decision. 1528. She inquires about his PP.
So do you have sexual needs or do you suppress them?
I try to suppress them. I mean, there is. I've met a guy. I don't know if you've ever seen this. It's a guy who they call him the King Vampire, Don Henry. He's been on Tyra Banks' show. He associates himself as a vampire. He's had his teeth changed to a vampire's teeth. He is celibate himself. And I have found people who have different identities. They become celibate. They try to suppress their sexual needs. And to me, I'm not completely celibate, but I do try to suppress it at times.
So he's sexless is what he's saying. And you can probably guess why. This part specifically touches on the question of being used, the pink disposable part of the pink disposable pad.
I mean, I'm just really friendly. I talk with people all the time. Chris can tell you that as well, because I've done two interviews with Chris, and we have great conversations. I enjoy being on a show.
Okay, to get down to the final technical, like nitty-gritty aspects. Will you need to be stuck to underwear, or are you comfortable just being unused, laying around in a house or an apartment somewhere?
It doesn't matter either way. I mean, I'd be comfortable just being a pad.
So then would you completely relinquish control to anybody who wanted to use you, or would you choose who could use who could use you as a pad and who couldn't?
The way I see it, if I'm made into a pad, I'd rather be put in a pack with other pads and sent to the store and basically relinquish control, as you say.
So you could be sold, essentially, and bought.
Yeah.
And you're okay with that?
Yeah, I'm perfectly
Her eyes got real fucking wide when she was like, so you could be sold and bought, boy. Well, yes, the answer to that is yes. He intends, as we went over in the article, he does intend to be used, not just transformed. So there's one final. She actually gets really fucking dark with this guy, and I won't spoil it.
From the Biquarterly Women's Social Club asked this question, and I think it's a rather serious question. Is this a will for you to end your own life? Like, is this a suicide mission, becoming a pad?
At this point, I do not know. I mean, it's to me, it's what I want to be. At this point, I do not know, but I'm not going to harm myself in pursuing this.
Just 1 minute. I'm having issues with the power.
Okay, I don't know why she got up at that point in time to go fuck with her computer shit, but it effectively ends there. So we're gonna move along. God, I don't know how to use computers. Very stressful. Okay. So now comes the part where I show you what he was doing on the Kiwi farms. So he did join. This is all the way back in October of 2014. The Kiwi Farms was a very, very different place. It was still forming. We didn't know what we were going to be. So him joining was sort of like a test, and we ended up going very soft on him. And I'll show that as we go through this. So, hello everyone. Someone mentioned on DeviantArt about a thread about me here on this forum. It's interesting to say the least. And our reaction is, oh, Jesus Christ. He answers the question, is this a fetish? And he responds, this is perhaps the best speculation that is most important to me, but it's not really a fetish for me. It's more about what I identify as deep down. I feel like in deep down I'm already a feminine pad, and everything that happens to me as a pad is just a mere consequence of what I am. This is sort of in the middle of a conversation, but he says, it was never my intention to come here and rage on a bunch of people that I don't even know. I think people were asking him, because when people had joined the forum before, they were very angry and belligerent. And he had been really nice and explanatory talking to us. So he's explaining why. He says, I don't judge people on the internet. It's wrong to judge without even knowing the person. Also, I don't hate tampons. Actually, it's quite the opposite. I believe women should use whatever makes them feel most comfortable for their period. I have a set of photos of a Playtex 360 Gentle Glide regular tampons in my DeviantArt page. Also, I have bought tampons for female friends in the past. I hate toxic shock syndrome and the lives it claims every year. It can be avoided by proper education of the use of feminine hygiene products and also by recognizing the symptoms of the disease. This guy's like the anti-Unive. Instead of going around harassing women for tampons to stick up his butt, he's handed them out. He's like, you need some tampons? I happen to have packages of tampons and pads scattered all throughout my house and in my bags and in my car. If you need anything, just let me know. And this guy called Noel on the Kiwi farm says, you probably could get a job in the industry if you didn't let people know about the whole becoming a pad thing. And he says, well, I'm currently attending Peninsula College and the University of Advancing Technology while majoring in computer science under the Chapter 31 Vocational Rehabilitation Program under the Veterans Affairs. He's a veteran. Oh, I didn't mention that. He is a veteran. He got an injury in basic training in the Naval Academy, and he's on 30% disability. Oh, he mentions that. I'm a service-disabled veteran in the U.S. Navy. At the beginning of last year, I walked and hitchhiked from northern Florida to northern Georgia. I had some really bad blisters on my feet and had to return to Florida for a few weeks. Afterwards, I moved to Forks, Washington for 10 months and finally moved to Port Angeles, Washington, where I live in my one-bedroom apartment. And I asked him, I said, what is the nature of your service and your injury? Responds, I was discharged due to a back injury in basic training, and I'm currently rated as 30% disabled by the Veterans Affairs. And I think this is the last screenshot I have from him. Well, actually, I got thinking about it more. I decided to not continue to pursue reporting Chris. He has been reported to Sega and Social Security. I'm not going to do anything beyond that at this point. Many of you have pointed out how bad his life is, and I really don't want to add to it further. And to elaborate, when he was on the forum, he became an extremely bad Christian Weston Chandler A-log, and was seriously reporting him to Social Security and Sega for property infringement and shit. And we had to kind of figure out what the fuck to do with him because he got really bad. But we talked him down from that edge. And since I'm not really a locale, I proposed a lock on this thread. I have nothing really to add to this forum. And we did, actually. The thread's been locked for a while. Because, again, we were much nicer people back then. We've gotten meaner since. But he did not leave. He did not leave. He continued to show up in our chat. So a lot of what I'm about to say, as I get into this, is you have to take my word for it. There are no screenshots. I don't have database logs of this. It's an answer to a question. And a question many of you might be aware of because of this.
I don't want to leave you this evening with nightmares. Instead, I would prefer to get your noggin jogging by introducing you to a unsolved situation. I'm talking about the mystery of the missing MaxiPad. It turns out a particular individual has vanished. All of their social media accounts are shut down. Their YouTube account, their Twitter account, their Facebook account, even their DeviantArt account, all mysteriously have vanished from the internet. Even articles talking about this individual have been pulled down by the authors that wrote them. I'm talking about Pad Gardner.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay. Buckle in. You just have to take my word for this. I have no evidence to back up what I'm saying. I mentioned at the start of this stream that Pad changed my perspective of a lot of things. And what he changed my mind on specifically was trannies. Now, how did he do that? Pad eventually revealed to us that he was extremely depressed. When he hinted at being depressed earlier in that interview, he really didn't do it justice. Pad had severe bouts of depression. He was suicidal. And his psychiatrist had a theory. So she had his DNA tested. And what it turned out is that he had a chromosomal disorder, XXY non-Klinefelter syndrome. Now, Klinefelter's is usually colloquially interchanged with XXY syndrome, but not all people with XXY have Klinefelter's. Klinefelter's usually has like hypogonadism and infertility, but there are people with XXY who don't have Klinefelter syndrome, and Pad was one of them. So when you hear those trannies talking about how they're a woman stuck in a man's body, our brain is as much a part of our physiology as our balls, so transitioning is natural. None of the motherfuckers have XXY. They don't. Pad is as close to that paradigm of woman in a man's body as possible because his doctor, who had a medical degree in psychology and supposedly or could be inferred that they know a lot about the relationship between brain and body, right? Put him on HRT. And Pad, this big motherfucker, this big fucking Army or Navy veteran, transitioned into a woman and wore a wig. And they did not pass, but they did not care, because once they had estrogen being injected into them, once they were on HRT, he says magically, his suicidal thoughts disappeared. He was completely cured of depression instantly by hormone replacement therapy. And guess what else was cured? Guess what else was cured, guys? Anybody want to guess what HRT fixed in his brain? Go on. The pads. No, not the autism. The pads. He didn't want to be a pad anymore. He was okay with just being a woman. You think it's a placebo effect? Well, he changed his name from Pad to a different female name, which I'm not going to say. And he's been gone ever since. He deleted everything because his obsession with pads was gone, and he was no longer Pad Gardner, and he was no longer a feminine pad. And it's not bullshit. You know, that's why I get pissed off. I get pissed off at fucking trannies when they say this shit that, oh, they're a woman in a man's body and they need HRT, because your gender dysphoria isn't fucking XXY. Your gender dysphoria is autism. You failed at being a man, so you feel more comfortable being a woman. You just want to be in this protected class where you can inflict yourself on other people. But Pad, that nigga, he was legitimately disabled with a psychological condition that required him to take hormone therapy. And these crazy motherfuckers like Narcissa Wright and Greta Gustava and all these fucking freaks are an embarrassment to my nigga Pad. So that's it. That revelation of, oh, you know, sometimes there is a legitimate need for medical treatment that would be considered transitioning. So when people say I'm softer on trannies and shit, this is kind of why. And I don't really care what people think about me, to be honest. I'm just saying. Pure Aryan tranny, basically. Does this mean base trannies exist? Probably not. You know, Pad's a member of various organizations and stuff, an advocate. That probably means he's not base, but at least he's honest. He is somebody who had an illness and sought treatment for it. And I think that is not something you can say for many, many, many people who consider themselves trans. Our tranny. Amy Rose is a whore. I mean, does Jim know about this now? I don't know. I mean, it's not. The thing is, it's not in his thread. It was just kind of background noise to chat. So it's not posted anywhere. It's not written anywhere. I can't imagine that he does know, unless he hangs out in our chat room. But considering he accidentally identified our chat room as Discord in some screenshots he showed in the video, I'm pretty sure he does not know. So. Somebody says, holy shit, I can finally catch this live. Oh boy, do I have news for you. This is the end. Thank you for joining me. I have nothing else to add to this. Pad was a weirdo. I do want to say one thing. I want to reach on on a particular facet of Pad's identity. Though I think, because of the abuse, because of the sexual abuse, so, you know, a lot of people who were sexually abused, especially at a young age like that, they feel very worthless. And I think that the disposability of his transformation idea was lended to by that. I think it's kind of like it's such a weird fascination that especially for it not to be a sexual thing. It's a perfect storm of oh, I didn't even show this.
I don't want to leave you this evening
geez.
with night.
Jim, you scared the fuck out of me. When you have XXY non-Klinefelter syndrome, you literally have a smooth brain. The insula of your brain is smoother. So that's why, if he seems a little bit off, that's why. But you know, it's a combination of abuse and of having a smooth brain, and probably I think he even mentioned at some point he had a head injury while in the Navy as well. So some combination of that stuff put him into this predicament, and he did need medicine to pull himself out of it. So I just wanted to comment on that, my theory as to how this happened. But I think that's it. And let me pick out a song. I'll go for an old standby. Check this out. It's about using menstrual blood to improve facial skin. Motherfucker, you couldn't pay me to click that fucking link. How is that on... How the fuck... Wait, hold up. How is this on fucking Facebook? Ew! Ew! What the... Ew! Why is this a thing? Hold on, I'm trying to archive it because I don't want to fucking log into my bullshit burner Facebook account. Come on, little archive.is. You've had problems recently, but you can do it. Chugga 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 chugga. Come on. It's not anything else interesting. It's Josephine Casanata. Woman smears menstrual blood on her face to show periods are beautiful and powerful. I know at least one man, one blue-eyed angel, who would agree with you on that. And on that horrific fucking note, I think that's it. So thank you all, my friends, for tuning in for this short, concise episode on when Pad, a pink disposable reformed feminine hygiene product. And yeah. Thanks. I got like 40 people on Dick Masterson's like support thing, and thank you all for that. Like, it's really hard getting people to switch over to like different platforms and shit. So it's really nice that people have done that. I'm gonna go with my old standby video, and next week I'll try to make a longer one next week. I'll have to pick out somebody who has more lore to them. One guy that I've been meaning to do. I have a couple. I want to do what's her name? The crazy bitch. The crazy bitch who drew those Pokemon knockoff comics. The Floriverse lady. Because she was like in a polyamorous relationship with two men and her dog, and when they got caught out for grooming a child who was a fan of their Floriverse, they literally, when they got doxxed and they got called out for that shit, they literally sold their fucking house. We found their house on the market the same fucking week. It was amazing. Yeah, Glitch Puppet, or Glip as they're called. Schmorky's a good pick. Smorky would be good. There's somebody named Claw Shrimpy on the forum, and all I know about Claw Shrimpy is that one day his brother got mad at him and and punished him by making him go get a hamburger. So, there's pros and cons to all of this. Like, I don't know much about Claw Shrimpy, so going into him would be a discovery for myself. I'd be learning something new. Glitch Puppet has the benefit of letting me play White Girls Fuck Dogs. Schmorky is good because I get to gloat over Lotax. I get to assert my dominance over him and his dying forum that is closer and closer to being smaller than the Kiwi farms every single day. It's a myriad. It's a big open world for crazy people on the internet, my friends, and it's just out there. It's out there to be grabbed and taken and throttled. Oh, and before I play my song, my outro song, and throw up the hams, I realized just now that I still have this on my desktop in like a corner where I keep all my hamsters and stuff for the stream, all my art assets. I still have this. I still have this on my desktop. It might be time to delete this. Might be time to throw this in the trash bin. You know what? I'm gonna delete this file live, and it should disappear off OBS when I do it. And there it is. It's gone. It's in the dumpster. Rest in pepperoni, my friend. All right. I think that's it. We're at an hour. That's perfect. Perfect time. All right. I will see you next week. Same time, same place. And my main channel will have streaming privileges back in April because for some reason Yanive's copyright claim never got dealt with. They have not answered it yet. It has been over a month. It has been a month and a half, going on 2 months now. They have not answered my dispute against his copyright claim, which is complete bullshit to begin with. And the Chantal cyberbullying strike doesn't expire for 6 months. So fuck these people. They're all shit. And in the In the time being, it'll be here. So, yes. All right. All right. I've talked enough. Get gone. Get gone. Where is it? Where is it?
He walks alone under the big city lights. He always knows just when the time is right. He never shows what he's thinking. He keeps it inside because he's too cool for school. He comes alive when the sun goes down. He gets it right. You know he's always down. He got one eye open and his ear to the ground. And he's too cool for school. He's an operator, he's a real player, and if you mess with him, you know you'll never win. He's an instigator, enemy eliminator, and when he knocks you better let him in. He's got his own way of getting things done. He's always looking out for number one. Don't try to beat him 'cause he's already won. And he's too cool for school. He's an operator, he's a real player, and if you mess with him, you know you'll never win. He's an instigator, enemy eliminator, and when he knocks you better let him in. He walks alone